an Eritrean appeal for help to the international humanitarian community, to His Excellency Mr. Filippo Grandi, High Commissioner UNHCR Geneva, and His Excellency Dr. Tedros Adhanom, the Director General of World Health Organization Geneva Office, and other concerned United Nations bodies. Subject matter: Eritrean refugees and their plight. An appeal for protection of Eritreans at home and abroad from the scourge of the invading coronavirus. March 31st, year 2020. We, the undersigned entities representing the Assembly of Eritrean Political Organizations in Exile, felt historical obligation and responsibility to write this letter of earnest appeal to your honorable authority in the headquarters of UNHCR and WHO, with copies to be forwarded to additional concerned UN organs, as well as the hosting countries of our refugees, such as the Sudan, Ethiopia, Yemen, Israel, and Libya. Hereby to draw the sought-after attention from all humanitarian communities to relieve the plight of Eritreans in refugee shelters in various camps in several countries of the East African region. Honorable sirs, we are deeply concerned that this pandemic caused by the COVID-19 virus has now reached every corner of the globe. That includes also the ill-prepared state of Eritrea and the countries that provide the necessary shelter to the defenseless refugees in that part of the world. There is no need to remind you, as you are very well informed about the unstable nature of this conflict-ridden, politically sensitive region of the world. As you can tell in the tone of our appeal, we're anxious and worried that given the situation, where many of our people lack the basic access to hand-washing facilities and detergents, that is the most effective preventative measure anyone can do according to healthcare professionals. But in the absence of these materials and personal protective equipment, or PPE, the pandemic will be catastrophic, destined to leave behind a greater number of deaths and greater social disruption than any other in the globe. Given the circumstance of our plight, the people at the refugee camps deserve timely and immediate attention of the international humanitarian community that is led by appropriate professionals from your esteemed organizational bodies of UNHCR and WHO. We also believe you are well aware of the problem inside Eritrea. There is no need to highlight the politics of the matter here, but there are supporting data out there indicating young people are fleeing the country in droves on a daily basis. So far, hundreds of thousands have already left the country, leaving behind them the elderly and the vulnerable at home. Traditional community structures, charities, and long-established religious supporting groups and other societal safety nets have been systematically demolished and exist no more in Eritrea. For the last 2 decades, most of United Nations humanitarian organizations and NGOs had been banned in Eritrea. Your Excellencies, the general public in today's Eritrea is left pauperized and helpless. It is worth noting that in the past few years, Amnesty International had reported there are over 300 dungeons throughout the country where thousands of political prisoners languish under inhumane conditions. These dungeons are congested and poorly constructed and maintained to handle the looming danger. In addition to these underground prisoners, divisions of the conscripted army, the young folks who are held under the guise of national service, forced labor groups living in a Spartan-like condition, overcrowded camps have no protection inside yet. Hence, we believe those conscripted young people are needlessly becoming an easy prey to the pandemic. In the absence of the urgently needed humanitarian intervention, and given the expanding and contagious nature of the coronavirus, Eritrean refugees in camps in an urban slum-like setting, such as in the Sudan, Ethiopia, Yemen, Israel, and Libya, are likely to get heavily affected by this pandemic. In the absence of the urgently needed humanitarian intervention, and given the expanding and contagious nature of the coronavirus, Eritrean refugees in camps in an urban slum-like settings such as in the Sudan, Ethiopia, Yemen, Israel, and Libya are likely to get heavily affected by this pandemic, including those in reception camps and temporary shelters in many countries, are also subject to higher exposure, unless the host countries are advised and supported by the authorized bodies, especially UNHCR and WHO. Gentlemen of the United Nations and WHO, we the undersigned therefore strongly appeal to Your Excellency to take the most urgent measures that could prevent or curtail the spread of COVID-19 virus in Eritrea. Particularly, we are seeking laser-focused attention inside the refugee camps and an urban-like concentration of Eritrean refugees in several countries, most especially in Eastern Africa. Needless to say, the topmost priorities of action that we suggest you should include in your long list are: Number 1, give the support to ensure that health clinics in that poverty-stricken area to gain access to adequate water supply, detergent and disinfectant liquids, and personal protective equipment, PPE. Number 2, look after and support the local health centers and first aid agencies to set up testing facilities for a timely identification of persons infected with that virus. Number 3, we strongly urge the international humanitarian community to play active and decisive role inside the refugee camps, and the same effort to provide relief to people inside the state of Eritrea as well. Honorable gentlemen of the United Nations and WHO, we hope that you understand the essence of this modest call to action. We urge you and plead to your conscience and sense of duty to seriously look at the murky situation of the 4 million Eritreans at home and the estimated 2 million who are dispersed into the four corners of the earth, whom we believe are exceptionally vulnerable to the looming dangers which is now common to our shared planet. Sincerely yours. The signatories of the letter are the chairmen of the following organizations: Number 1, Eritrean National Council for Democratic Change. Number 2, Eritrean National Front. Number 3, Eritrean People's Democratic Party. Number 4, Organization of Unity for Democratic Change. Number 5, United Eritrean for Justice. Number 6, the Red Sea Afar Democratic Organization. We thank you in advance and we look forward to your esteemed and timely humanitarian assistance. March 31st in the year of 2020.